ready to burn out and to fade away.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Brian at Whisper Status 74. Welcome to the community. Welcome to the channel. If this is the first time you're seeing me, please consider liking and subscribing. We are real tech for real people. I've just caught up on all the comments from the last few days. Thank you so much for commenting. Your questions, your comments, your information is very important to me. If I missed a comment from you, please resubmit it in a newer video and I'll be glad to get back to you. This video is going to be on the A9H. In our coverage of the shootout at Value Electronics that we did between the CX and the A8H, I'm going to mess those up a lot. The A9G was discussed, and why it was discussed, as we discussed the CX versus the C9 and the A8H actually being, compared to the A9G, which gave me pause. To me, the A9G has always been a step above, being a Master Series OLED. But I was told that the A9G was being canceled. Now, I've talked about this the last few days in the comments, and I just wanted to do a video on it. This is what I've heard. This is what I've been told, is that Sony has canceled the A9G. It is for lack of a better word, it is kind of being sacrificed due to what's happening out there in the world right now during this crisis. Things are being delayed, movies, games. But the A9G is a definite big one, not just for the industry as a whole, but for many of you that want that Sony OLED that really wanted HDMI 2.1. So last year's battle with the C9 and the A9G was always neck and neck, much like the shootout we did between the CX and the A8H. They're virtually the same, but it always gave C9 people the edge to say, it has HDMI 2.1, I'm ready for the future, for gaming, and there's always this battle that Sony OLEDs are not gaming OLEDs, you can't game on them, which is absolute nonsense. I mean, they're amazing for gaming, they're gorgeous, we'll talk about at the end of this video. But back to the A9G. Many people that wanted to buy the A9G were waiting for the A9H simply because they thought it would have HDMI 2.1 ports on it. We know Sony has been a little bit off on that. The 950H does not have HDMI 2.1, being the 4K flagship. From what I understand, that was a matter of timing. The 950H was already, the 950G came out so early last year, the 950H was already done. The 900H was still being worked on, so they added HDMI inputs to that. Apparently that is all there is to it. It's just timing. The A9G is being sacrificed. It is a casualty of this crisis, for lack of a better word, simply because, if I'm guessing, whether it's manufacturing, timing, I don't have the particulars on that, but they're saying the A8H is the replacement. It's not available in the same sizes as the A9G, so the A9G will stay in production, so you'll be able to purchase that. Those of you that know the Master Series lineup, they don't come out every year. They typically, blanket a few years, Z9D, Z9F, Z9G, and they're not always guaranteed to come out. But the A9H, I'm going to keep mixing them up, again, was everybody's greatest hope to have HDMI 2.1 ports, so we could, argue that back and forth. The A8H that we saw in the lineup is gorgeous, and the calibrators Jonathan and even D-Nice and Robert both thought it was an improvement over the A9G. Now, improvement over the A9G, is that something you're going to see picture quality wise? I don't think it will. I think it's more processing, consolidation of settings, black frame insertion, some of the things that you can tweak here and there, but it's really, really hard to improve on the A9G. It was such an amazing display, but that is the replacement for now. The true replacement for the A9G will not be announced until 2021 CES. Who knows how that's going to go, but that's really kind of where we are with it being actually not really delayed but canceled. I imagine in 2021 CES that display will probably be 8K. It won't be a 4K A9H. It'll probably have HDMI 2.1. But for many of us that are still into 4K and haven't jumped to 8K, it's just very, very disappointing news. And we wanted to see what the A9G or the A9H was going to bring to the table. For me, I'm not sure if it would have improved a lot. The A9G is already that good, but an A9G with HDMI 2.1 ports definitely would have settled a lot of these battles between the C9 and the A9G. So 5 minutes in, I want to keep this video relatively short as I tend to blah, blah, blah. In the comments and even among the Value Electronics calibrators, there was always this talk of C9, LG, gaming, Sony, not really for gaming, more for movie watching. I game on a Sony every single day and I love it. Is the input lag slightly higher than the C9? Yeah. I mean, and for competitive gaming, multiplayer, it's still fine. Not just fine, it's great. But this concept of HDMI 2.1, 4K, 120 FPS, you have to have it. I don't always agree. I've talked in my HDMI 2.1 videos that if you have a Sony A9G, A8G, any of the OLEDs on Sony, you can game all day on them. I mean, not all day. I mean, obviously they're OLEDs, but they're absolutely gorgeous. The motion on Sony is second to none. Amazing, perfect for gaming. So this concept of you cannot buy a Sony OLED because of its lack of gaming, HDMI 2.1. Now, they don't have variable refresh rate or G-Sync or anything like that. But as far as its gaming, 4K 60 at its base, which is what these consoles are going to be focusing on. I know people say 4K 120, 8K 30. We've been seeing demos of 4K 30 for the new consoles. So if you're somebody that wants a Sony OLED and you want to game on it and you want the LG C9, the CX is not the only option. As far as OLEDs, Sony OLEDs are gorgeous. If you like that Sony look, if you like the LG look, it's a very distinct look. And what's interesting about the shootout and the calibration is it's bringing all these displays to make them look similar. They all have distinct looks. So if you like the Sony look, which I adore the Sony look, and you want that Sony image and motion, any of the OLEDs are going to be amazing for next-gen gaming. You'll be capped at 4K 60, but so what? 4K 60 is phenomenal. Many of you that aren't into PC gaming have never experienced 4K 60 fully. So, you know, to further talk about the point, when I was picking up my CX, the A8H was coming in. And I had that moment where I was thinking to myself, I would love to be one of the first to have the A8H. It wasn't really more expensive. The price had dropped on it. So I was literally going to just buy it right there. And then right away, when I realized it didn't have HDMI 2.1, I was like, if I bought that, that would be something I would hear in every video. Doesn't have HDMI 2.1, can't buy it, doesn't have HDMI 2.1. So that's a shame. But for me, having a channel is why I wouldn't have purchased that. But for the regular person who's not putting content on YouTube, and I am the regular person, by the way, I would say they're awesome for gaming. But the real big disappointment is many of you are waiting for HDMI 2.1 OLEDs, and I hear a lot in the comments that you can't game on them, and it's just not true. You can game on them all day. They are phenomenal. They're gorgeous. Just like the C9 and the CX are gorgeous for movie watching, you don't have to choose one over the other. Does the LGs have better gaming-centric features? They do. But so does Samsung with their QLEDs. And I don't hear that argument made too often. But Sony OLEDs get knocked for not being gaming displays. They're phenomenal gaming displays. I game on one all the time. The OLEDs are gorgeous. You can game on them. I'm just sorry that there's not going to be the A9H. Now it has become a casualty of this, this pandemic, which in comparison to the loss of human life means very little. But we are in here talking about tech. I'm very disappointed, but it has been delayed. It has been canceled. You can game on other Sony OLEDs though, whether the ones from a few years ago, from all of them, in fact. But if you still want to buy an OLED, a Sony OLED, the A8H is phenomenal. The A8G is phenomenal. So is the A8F. They're all great. But don't not buy them simply because they don't have HDMI 2.1 and you feel like you can't game on them. That, to me, that is a complete misconception. That's just my opinion. And one last thing I wanted to say on the A9G. My question with the A9H for many people in this industry is like the car industry. I don't think they want to release if you release a car that is a 2021s are out, if you're designing these amazing cars, do you want it to be where the 2020 is the lost year? You know, I think that with the A9G and Sony taking such pride in their Master Series moniker and lineup, I don't think they wanted to have the A9H be part of that lost year. If that's my personal thought. I think they wanted to hold it back and release a true Master Series and have it not be during this crisis to where it would have to be cut down in price. And it's a majestic brand, the Master Series. It's very expensive, but you get what you pay for in regards to the Master Series. It would be a shame to release it in the fall and then have to cut the price on it and then have it be completely overlooked. And I also think the 4K 8K thing is going to be hard for the Master Series. So that's me rambling on again, but I think that's why, personally, whether it's manufacturing, but if I'm an engineer and I'm putting out this masterpiece, to put it out in the fall when things are still going to be too hot, I think that's why they pushed it back or had delayed it. And the A9G stands on its own, regardless of the HDMI 2.1. If you're looking at it objectively, picture quality-wise, it's going to be fine. It can compete with anything that's out this year and probably next year. All right, guys, I'm Brian from Whisper Status 74. Thank you so much for joining me. Please check me out in the comments, and I look forward to hearing what you think about this just crappy news about the A9H. And I probably mixed up A9G and A9H and A8H 1,000 times, but I don't have a script or anything, as I just film guerrilla style. All right, guys, I hope everybody is doing well. I will see you in the comments. We will continue on this topic. You'll see the CX. You'll see gaming on it. We'll also cut up more videos for the shootout. You'll also see me on a live stream with Shane in a few hours, and I'll be doing another live stream myself this Sunday. All right, guys. Love you. I'll see you guys in the comments. Take care.